Good morning to all our viewers here in the Philippines, and in the US, it's good afternoon there. It's around 4 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. And we have for today our special guest, Mr. Christopher Cayanan. And he's one of my longtime childhood friends since elementary school days up to grade six, no? And then the next time we saw each other um, was in the TOSOM awarding. He's one of my fellow TOSOM awarding. I'm proud to say he's also one of the 10 outstanding students of Makati in Metro Manila, Philippines. And after that, I think we saw each other more than a decade ago in our small elementary class reunion here in the Philippines. So perhaps you can also introduce yourself to our viewers, Chris.
Right, thanks, Cecile. Well, basically, I've been in the US for almost 30 years now. So I'm a professional engineer. I work for California Research Corporation as a senior electrical engineering advisor. So my background with all the experience that I have is very diverse. So, of course, I came from military service, then having, with private industry, I also became a consultant. Um, and I've been focusing right now on the energy. So as you probably know, there's a oil and gas is where I work, but we're also transitioning to renewables. Okay, so anyway, I support quite a few on the project management, operations, financial. I have a PE license, and also I have the MBA in finance.
Wow, that's great. Renewable energy is one of the, well, if I can say, one of the um, most valued profession and resource right now, right?
Correct.
So that's one of the world's problem, how to have renewable energy. So I guess we will learn a lot from you in this discussion. So to start off, what problem did you encounter before starting your career? And why was it such a big deal that you went looking for a solution when you did?
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I've been here 30 years, but when I came to the US, I was only 20, right? And when I came here, I had not finished my degree in engineering when I was in my pool one. So I thought when being in the US, I'll be able to continue my study. But education is not free in the US. So the main struggle that I have is having enough resources, right? And of course, having adapting the life in the US. So mainly that's the struggles that I have. But thankfully, I have my family with me, which helped me out. How to start and get a job, then learn how to draw it and so on. I feel like being an independent. So I started a electronic technician, working in a small firm, which basically doing a QA/QC. Then, when I was working, I really want to go back to school. My passion is I want to have a degree, right? Unexpectedly, I got a letter from the U.S. government saying, "Hey, why didn't you try military service?" So what I did, I consulted my family. Hey, what do you think about it? Well, the reason why all our families are here is because my uncle was in the service before, so that's why we all came here. With that said, all most of my relatives were in the U.S. service. So they told me, why don't you pursue also going to military service and maybe you can continue schooling there. So I joined the U.S. Air Force. So while I was in the U.S. Air Force, right, I had some training, but because I wasn't a U.S. citizen yet, even though I want to be, do the engineering, I couldn't because, like I said, it's only limited for the U.S. citizen. So what I did, I ended up going for pharmacy, right? Pharmacy, the reason why I chose pharmacy because it involved math and science. I want to stick my, my profession within that category. So anyway, working in a pharmacy on that, so I ended up doing that. Good thing. My colleagues was able to encourage me. Why don't you continue your pharmacy degree, right? So first I had to get my associate in pharmacy. So I was able to complete that. But for me to go to a university, um, I had to get my transcript from a pool. So I had called my friends, hey, buddy, can you help me out? Can you send my transcript from the pool to University of Wyoming? So when the University of Wyoming evaluated the transcript, they said, wait a minute, are you taking a master? No, I have not. Oh, you get so many credits. Well, you know what? You only need 32 more units for you to complete your electrical engineering degree. You know, when we take our credits in the Philippines, we usually take 21 units, right? In here, you take 12, 16, and so on. So you will take them probably a year and a half or two just to get the 32 units. My case, I was able to finish it for 1 year. So this way doing that, I was basically be able to do a fast track and complete my degree in 1 year. So that's when I started, get my electrical engineering.
That's very interesting. We didn't know that about you. You didn't mention that during one of our class reunion. So, why did you choose that career?
Well, as I mentioned, right, I mean, I really love math. So, in addition, when I was going to school, too, and even when I was working at pharmacy, I like to, do some programming, do some, suggesting something. So, that's why I chose electrical engineering. It's just to use that knowledge and pertain to that, engineering skill. So, and the power generation, I'm really, curious on how we generate electricity. So that's why I chose that field, electrical engineering. And I was, when I was in engineering school too, I was actually not into power. My course was on the doing designing and doing programming. So, but the job while I was in school, we had a job fair. Luckily, that one of the companies out there that said, "Hey, you know what? We don't. As long as you have a degree, you're good. Because we're going to train you anyway." So they hired me and they trained me to become a field electrical engineer. And good thing that they were building power plants. And at the same time, hey, we also have a company in West Coast because Wyoming is in the Midwest, and I want to go back to California. But because our company that joined, which is DIC, they said, you can be stationed on West Coast, and I'm currently building power plants out there. And as soon as you finish your training, you can go ahead and go back to West Coast. So that's why I chose that too.
So you were blessed, actually, yeah? So that's good to know. So how did your career solve a problem you were experiencing? And how did you choose or implement your solution?
Well, I mean, as I going back to all this one, it's really for me to tackle some sort of problem. If I don't know anything, right? So what I do, I have to read books, right? Just to keep up with it. I have to learn something where, hey, you know what? How can I make sure that if I get this job, I stay ahead, right? So that's what I do. I mean, just to read books, learn something about it, and just concentrating on that field because I know that hey, electrical engineering is a pretty broad, right? I mean, you can be electronics, you can be a computer, and so on. But if you just focus on one area, like for me, power, you know what uh, resources that you have to study, right? And at the same time, you're gonna have to, do the attend the technical conferences out there just to gain more knowledge and so on. And you talk to some of the old folks out there, you get some their experiences and so on. Just with those knowledges and that you got from books, got from the people that you work with, right? You'll be able to solve some of the problems that you're encountering. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So were there any support features or relationship that you love, and how did it feel to get help?
Um, can you repeat that again? Just want to make sure I can.
Were there any features, support, or relationship that you love, and how did it feel to get help?
Yeah, there's quite, quite a folks out there that, if I don't know anything, I mean, there's a lot of mentors out there that help me out because without them, I would not be able to continue my career. So it's just a matter of that. Just like I said, glass, they trust you, right? Because if they see you that you do a hard work and you do initiatives on what you do, especially as a Filipino, right? I mean, we always stay up late. We just want to make sure that hey, I want to finish this. You always take pride of your work, right? So when they see that the people that work, you know, um, with you, especially your bosses, right? And they see that you'll be able to complete your tasks, they give you more jobs, right? They want to basically excel your career. And so, hey, this guy here can, take more jobs, take more skills, right? So not, you can be just doing something of one task. And if you can't finish the task, they're not going to give you more. But if you can show them that you can do this task and they give you another task and you can still do that task, now because now you can show that you're very versatile, right? That's where you can actually get more skills and be able to expand more. So, and if you run out, right, now you're the one who's now going to chase more, right? What else you could do to yourself, right? So now, so as I mentioned, I'm an electrical engineer, but when I was working as like an engineer, the finance, right? You still need to know the economics, how the world works. So, you work in a company, not just basically to do some technical stuff, right? The company, the reason why they're there is to make money. Now you have to understand on how do they make money, right? Now you kind of make a diverse on your skill from being this technical and now being a finance, you know, guru. So that's how basically helped me out on this transition too. So
Yeah.
okay.
So what are your goals as a professional?
Well, as a professional engineer, really, when I was working, my primary goals are, you want to work with integrity, right? And having to ensure that whatever you design or whatever you work on will be safe, reliable, and a stable operation for and also for public use, right? And as soon as you establish those, then now you have to think it's like, oh, now how can I improve this process, right? How can you make it more efficient? How can you make it more cost effective, right? So then, of course, that implementation that you have, right? Sometimes it's not enough, right? Now you're gonna have to find some ways to, okay, are there any more advancements out there that you can adopt and implement, right? And then now you're trying to develop more skills and just want to make sure that in my actually providing the best solution that I have, right? So you gain, gain more knowledge out there. Um, I think that, so really it's just a matter of that, continue learning. So never stop.
100% agree on that. So
Yeah.
are you comfortable sharing data or metrics demonstrating your success? And what does success mean to you?
Um, when it came to US, right? I mean, I don't have much equity. So it's like you only have little cash, I would say. But because of the career that I have, I was able to grow that equity, right? Not only just cash, but I have some property that I was able to buy and able to invest. And with that, you'll be able to get some passive income, right? However, really the most important part of that career that I have on my journey was not really just building that equity that that I have, but having some sort of a network, expanding some of the people that right? It's getting more friends out there, right? Because for me, I mean, a success is not just having a financial gain, right? You know, you should have some sort of a strong community and basically a support system. Right now, I mean, this reason why we're here because of, you know, we build this, right? We continue to have this relationship, even though we don't talk too much, but at least we have this group, not only with my elementary group, my college group, and my alumni group, and so on. So, and then the people that work with my industry too. So, that gives you some sort of meaningful connections, right? In addition, being trusted and relied upon by your colleagues because of what you know and your skills. I mean, that's really, uh, help me out on that situation. So,
And yeah, so in that regard, you are very blessed in every way. So, what does a typical day look like for you as a professional? How did it feel? And what surprised you about it?
pick a day. I mean, for me, I already have family, so I just want to make sure that everyone's safe, right? That's the first thing I want to do. I mean, um, when I go home, and when I go to work, but they're here, right? They always serve me, and I just want to make sure that that I can take care of them, not only my family but my other relatives too. Just want to make sure that they're all safe, and of course my friends, right? So those are the first thing. I just want to make sure that hey, I they're there, communicate with them, and so on. But in terms of work wise, just want to make sure that I can always give, you know, whatever I have, I take that job as like always. I'm sorry, be part of it. You know, you own it. You just want to make sure you take responsibility out of that. So, um, yeah. So just usually those are the things that what I do every day. And then if I'm bored and I have this other hobby that I do, just doing an app. So trying to see something out there where I can show some kids, hey, is this something that we can, help out for you so that you can increase your knowledge and so on. So, but yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Perhaps I can link the description to your app in the show notes below. So you can give me the details about it so we can post it for our viewers to know more details about your app. So, how or what does your typical day make possible for you and your profession? For instance, do you have a routine?
Oh, for that, yeah. So my routine job. So what I usually do is my uh, my main job is really to make sure that the system that I'm responsible for is it's safe, right, and reliable. So I coordinate with my colleagues. Hey, where we at on the on some of the projects that we're working with. Just want to make sure that there are no issues out there. And then I'm also responsible for the cost, energy costs for the company. I oversee the electrical load that we have. Just want to make sure that are we going up or are we going down? And what I do, I help budget the costs for them, and every month, just want to make sure that let them know that hey, this is where we are. Just want to make sure that you know uh, we didn't do over budget or I mean that everything's good so far in that scenario. So that's one thing, and then I also schedule the power plant. When I say schedule a power plant, I'm responsible for just want to make sure that when we generate electricity, uh, we're generating economically. So what that means that if the price of gas is high, we don't want the power plant. When the price of gas is low, we want the power plant, at the max capacity. So kind of like we're doing some sort of arbitrage. So those are, some of the tasks that I do. There's quite a few things that, I do. Like there's some legal things that I also do that I could not disclose in here. So it's a very confidential. But anyway, other than that, I support some of my colleagues in terms of, like I said, talking about renewables. Our company is doing quite a few innovations out there where we're talking about the carbon capture. So what the carbon capture is because in California, they have a goal that, hey, you want to make sure when you emit something, right, you try to reduce the carbon. The way we're trying to do this is to capturing it by storing that carbon back to the ground, right? So in addition, for the hydrogen, which basically we're working on that too, but you can actually produce hydrogen from natural gas. But when you do that, you have to do some sort of a process where you can scrub the carbon out from that from the natural gas, and then you can produce hydrogen by just what they call the reformer. So that reformer is just injecting steam so that you can extract it. Because in California, if you just use a natural gas, we call it a brown power, but if you use a hydrogen, we call it what's called a blue hydrogen. That means that you already extracted carbon. There's a premium for it. So there's also, we have another project that we're currently working on too, is the solar power. So we're trying to put a 1 megawatt solar power in here to and then we have some thinking about putting geothermal energy. So there's quite a few projects that we're working on. So, but some of those projects that we have, I kind of just oversee them, but support them. We have some guys out there that are really working on because you can only do one, right? Not you can't explore others. So you have other resources out there to it will help you. So.
Yeah. So you have a very interesting professional work. I'm sure you've also heard about Mammoth, which is the giant vacuum that sucks out bad stuff from the air, or the carbon dioxide from the air. Was newly launched this year in Iceland, if I'm not mistaken. Iceland provides the geothermal energy to power the Mammoth big power station.
Yeah, that's what we call the direct air capture.
Yes.
Where you actually basically capture the carbon too, and then as soon as you capture the carbon, then you inject that to the ground. So that's what we do also too. That this our company has I would probably say a lot of land, and we have a reservoir. We have opportunity that we can actually capture those carbon and inject it to the ground. So we're trying to get the permits on those. So hopefully that we get that permit and we start working on it.
So what words of wisdom have you learned from a family, friend, colleague, or mentor that you can impart to our viewers? And how did it change your life for the better?
Well, for me, it's really just recognizing your strengths and then continually improve upon them, right? And then use them wisely. then understand your limitation and maintain focus on your objectives. And lastly, always cultivate humility and maintain faith.
I
Yeah.
agree because I also advocate working on strengths and not on weaknesses. So, can you go back to your pain points and identify specific fixes and bottom line impacts? For instance, challenges in your life, how did you deal with that?
The challenges, right? I mean, it's a good question, but mostly the challenges that I had was mm, not knowing, you know, when you're tackling a task, right? That you are not prepared. So, in order to deal with that, first you gotta have to learn, right? It's just be prepared. Just like I said, just reading for me, I always want to be prepared by uh, either just getting some books out there, just to get knowledge, and if that's not enough, um, try to find ways for you to be part of that task. Either you sacrifice that, hey, I think I'm gonna, leave my current job and be part of the next job if you want to continue to improve your career. Just an example that I have was when I was a consultant, um, I wasn't satisfied with my career because I have some clients that keep asking me some questions, right? Um, which basically I know theoretically, but practically I don't have an experience. So I want to make sure that if I, you know, talk to someone, that I have some experience with that. So what I did when I met someone when I was in Canada, and he told me that, hey, Chris, there was an opening to one of the refineries. Why didn't you apply? And I know in my heart that, hey, I want to be in the field. I want to, I want to gain more knowledge. So I asked my boss, when I was a consultant, and he even offered me a partnership on this company because I have so many projects that are under my hand, right? Like I'm managing, and I know that he was disappointed that for me leaving. That's why he tried to offer me, um, a good partnership. But for me, I want to improve more, right? So I had to just go ahead and pursue your goal and jump into it. So with that, right, I went to a refinery, gain all that experience and so on, and that really boosted my career and helped my confidence on what I do as being an electrical engineer. So
And with that, thank you, Chris, for granting us your time for this very special interview discussion. And to all our viewers, we hope you learned something from this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.